Malcontent News is a team of journalists, activists, and researchers with three key missions. A commitment to show an unfiltered view of the before, during, and after of key events, live, as it happens. To defend the First Amendment using our rights of a free press. And to amplify the voices of underrepresented individuals including Black, Indigenous, persons of color, and the LGBTQIA+ community. Our team is committed to seeking equality for all and holding those in power accountable. The easiest way to support Malcontent News is to bookmark our website at malcontentnews.com, like and follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and in the Google News app. To provide financial support, you can become a patron, make a one-time donation through Venmo, or link your Twitch account to your Amazon Prime account and use your free subscription to subscribe to Malcontent News. Thank you for supporting independent journalism and for being a malcontent. Hey there, Malcontents. Here's the Malcontent. How's everybody doing this afternoon? This is a special broadcast because this is like old school Malcontent. I'm so fired up about this, and this can't wait till Monday. This needs more than it's going to get written up on Malcontent News. It needs more than a write-up on Malcontent News. I was working on a TikTok on this story. And what I came across was an audio recording of the 911 call. So let me back things up and paint the picture for you. And then we're going to play the recording of the 911 call. And I think your brains will explode as much as my brain has exploded when you hear the 911 call for yourself. So Ed Troyer, the recently elected sheriff for Pierce County. If you're part of the national audience, Pierce County is directly south of Seattle. It is Seattle's in King County. Pierce County is the county south of it. So if you think of Tacoma, Bellevue, Everett, Seattle as a metro area, Tacoma is in Pierce County. The other thing that's there are the very large military bases are there. So it's a big county. I just want people to understand this is not a rural county. And Tacoma is a big city. Sheriff Troyer lives in Pierce County because he is the sheriff there. Back in January, he called 911 at 2 a.m. He reported, I don't want to give away the punchline because you have to hear this 911 call. He reported that a man had threatened to kill him. And within 4 minutes of him calling 911, the first officers arrive on scene. Now, full stop on that, because one of the things that Pierce County, King County, and all the local police departments around here have been screaming are, the reason that calls take so long is because we don't have enough money and we don't have enough officers, so we have crappy response times, and we need more money so we can hire more officers so you can get more response times. They were there at Ed Troyer's house, the sheriff, because he said that somebody had threatened to kill him in about 4 minutes. We know this from the 911 call. And we know that the officer, the 911 dispatcher, didn't start deploying to his location until about 30 seconds into the call. So it took about 3.5 minutes for the first units to get there. 42 units, not officers, 42 police cruisers showed up to this call. Take all the time you want to unpack that. And then Ed Troyer started walking his story back. And he was like, well, he didn't really threaten me. And the police detained the person at gunpoint, interrogated him. And what we learned is the 24-year-old man in question was the paper delivery guy. Yeah, he was delivering newspapers. That's what he was doing. He was doing his job. The 911 call that Troyer makes is reprehensible. The story actually gets a lot worse today because Ed Troyer has gotten a shovel and he is digging a hole for himself as fast as he can. Because instead, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to stop. I've given you the background. Let's go ahead and switch the screen over. I've given you the background. This is on My Northwest, so we'll give credit to where credit is due. We are going to play the publicly available 911 call for your listening pleasure. Listen to this call. Or not. I actually see what the issue is. Give me 1 second. Now listen to this call.
Radio.
Hey, it's Troyer.
What can I do for you?
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End, about 2 blocks from my house.
I want to pause it for 1 second. That is not because I don't want people to go, you just doxed Ed Troyer. He will explain in the 911 call. Like, he is not given a specific address. He is also not at his home when he gives that address. All identifying information has already been blocked out in this 911 call. So let me go back to the recording.
Caught some in my driveway who's just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here right now.
All right. Let's play that back.
For you.
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End, about 2 blocks from my house, and I caught some in my driveway who's just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here.
I caught someone in my driveway. He just tried to kill me. He didn't say he threatened me. He just accused this person of attempted murder. Let's keep playing the 911 call.
Right now.
Okay. Go again with your address.
Well, my address is...
Okay.
And he's in some sort of gray car, and he was in my driveway, in my neighbor's driveway, and he knows who I am, and he threatened to kill me, and I got him blocked in at 27th
Okay.
Cathedral. I think his plate is... I really need just 1 or 2 people here first.
Absolutely. I'm getting the call right now.
41 seconds into the call. 911 dispatcher says he's putting the call out now, and Sheriff Troyer has said a second time, not that he threatened him, that he tried to kill him. This is the second time Sheriff Troyer said it.
Well, hang on, he's not going to let me leave.
Okay, does he have a gun or anything?
I have no idea. He looks homeless in his car, but he was in my driveway, and I got my car, and he was in my neighbor's driveway, tried to get my garage.
Okay.
I don't know if he has a gun. Let's make him sound a little scarier. He tried to get into my garage. So now we're accusing him of a second felony. He tried to get into my neighbor's garage. We're accusing him of a third felony. And let's add to the scary factor, he looks homeless. Because homelessness is apparently a crime in Pierce County.
Yeah, and so I got him blocked in. I'm in a white Tahoe.
Okay.
My own personal white Tahoe. He's taking pictures and video and news.
Okay. I've got units headed your way.
I just need...
1 minute, 13 seconds. I've got units coming your way. So he started dispatch at 40 as confirmation that units are on the way. That's the 911 dispatcher that's talking to Sheriff Troyer. And Sheriff Troyer, remember, Sheriff Troyer started this call. This man tried to kill me. That's how he started this call. Sheriff Troyer is a commissioned armed officer. And yet now he says the man is outside of his vehicle filming me and taking pictures. So Sheriff Troyer's story is already falling apart.
One or two here quick. He was in my neighbor's houses and climbing. Sorry, but
No, you're good.
going on. I think they found me. All right.
Okay, stay on the phone with me, though, okay? Just so I can make sure.
I don't want to hang up. I'm trying to back up and let him go, but he blocked me on me.
Okay.
So, scary man, looks homeless, tried to kill me, said it twice, but I'm blocking him with my personal vehicle and I'm not going to let him out, and he's just filming me right now. We are now 1:37 into the call.
And what kind of car is he in?
I don't know, some sort of beat up, charcoal, homeless looking Scion. I gave you the...
Some beat up looking, charcoal, I don't know, homeless looking. Because, again, apparently being homeless in Pierce County is a crime.
Plate number.
Yeah.
Black number. So I have to be polite to him, and he just says I'm a racist and wants to kill me. So
Okay.
I don't want anything other than him to let me go home, which is 2 blocks away, which I just came up.
Oh, now he's starting to walk it back. I don't want anything other than to have him let me go home. He's not blocking him in his driveway. There is actually nothing that this man is doing to prevent Ed Troyer from going home. Ed Troyer started the call by saying he has the man blocked in a driveway 2 blocks from his home. So the only person preventing Ed Troyer from going home is Sheriff Ed Troyer. And Sheriff Ed Troyer started this phone call in the first 5 seconds saying that this man attempted to murder him.
From the house.
Anybody else with him, Chief?
No. I'm not mad at him or anything, but he...
Okay.
I think he might have one of those garage door openers because he pulled into 4 or 5 different houses around my neighborhood and tried to hit the garage door opener button.
Yeah.
Oh, now we see how the crack criminologist research team works in Pierce County. Maybe he has one of those garage door openers because he's been pulling into people's driveways.
My house I'm doing a remodel, so there's so much room, and there's no room in the driveway, so he tried it everywhere else. So he's looking for me.
Okay.
I'm still here. I'm backing up. He's pushing against my car, so I'm just backing up. 27B.
Okay, they should be there shortly, too.
Deidre? So weird. It's like one of those bold radio stare downs. He's just staring at me with headlights on. And,
okay.
I'm glad we're a couple blocks from my house. My wife and kids would kill me if they saw this. All right.
Yikes. Did you hear the officers?
No, I don't hear anything.
Don't hear me? Okay.
So officers are clearly coming in, lights and sirens. We're at 3:15 in the call. So apparently, if you're a police officer and you call 911, you can get the police to show up in under 4 minutes. If you're anybody else and the police are driving this narrative that they are underfunded and they can't protect and serve unless they get more money and more weapons and more equipment, then you have to wait like normal people.
Oh, no. 29th and Bisbee, 2 blocks above my house.
Okay.
No. He's taking video and pictures of me. It's just him alone. It's so weird.
Okay. Did he give you his name or anything?
No, he just said that I was home and saw the lights coming in on and out and everything. I looked and he was like pulling in all the driveways. I thought maybe it was one of those guys that's like kind of a thief that has a garage door opener.
Yeah.
And so I went out and followed him, and he blocked me off and accosted me and said, "You're a cop," and started threatening me, which is not a big deal, but it's part of our deal now, right?
I'm a cop and he's threatened to kill me, but it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, right? Troyer already knows he's fucked up. I fucked up. He already knows he's fucked up.
Apparently,
yeah. And he's literally blocked me in. And here comes the first guy.
Okay.
They're right behind me.
Okay, good.
4 minutes, 10 seconds. First officers has arrived on the scene.
Yeah, so the first cop is right there. Yeah. So, okay.
Okay, well, if they're with you, I'll let you go, okay?
Thank you. Come with
you. You betcha. Okay, great. Right. Thank you.
All right, bye.
I'm going to play the beginning one more time, and then we're going to talk about this.
Radio.
Hey, it's Troyer.
What can I do for you?
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End, about 2 blocks from my house, and I caught somebody in my driveway who was just threatening to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here, right?
He just tried to kill me. Oh, no. It gets worse. And this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this. Because it's like this can't wait. Give me 1 second here. I'm just dragging this over here. It's gotten worse. Because the Tacoma Police Department has released its report. And of course, if somebody threatens to kill the Pierce County Sheriff, this is going to be news. The Seattle Times picked up this story first. And one of the first things that jumped out at everybody is that the Tacoma Police Department in the report said, and I'm going to quote from the My Northwest story, an incident report filed by a Tacoma officer who appeared to contradict assertions made in Troyer's dispatch call with the officer on the scene saying Troyer had amended his story to say that Altheimer, we'll get into who this person is, never threatened him. So 42 police units, vehicles showed up like it's the Blues Brothers movie. I get for some of you that's like, I don't get the reference. And others, you will get the reference. And then he's walking it back. Now, you think it would end there. Oh, no. Because Troyer's got a shovel right now. He's digging a hole for himself as fast as he flippin' can. Because this is the things that he has expressed so far today. First of all, he has expressed surprise that the Tacoma Police Department even wrote up a report on this. Because he was told that, well, they weren't going to write up a report. So he's upset. His first go-to was, wait a minute, you didn't cover up for me. That's his first go-to. What the hell? Are you serious? That's your go-to? Your go-to is not, I showed, the only thing that's coming to my mind is racism and stupidity. I'm trying to word this like a marketing person, like a PR person, right? I was alarmed and made a series of bad decisions. And I apologize for the wasting of resources, and I apologize for the trauma that I caused to Mr. Altheimer. I am taking some time off to evaluate my decisions in this particular incident and to take a step back. And during this time of self-reflection, this person will be in charge of the Pierce County Sheriff's Department. Oh, no, that wasn't his reaction. His reaction was, wait a minute, you guys were supposed to cover up for me. You wrote a report. Now the report's in the press. You told me there wasn't even going to be a report. There were 42 friggin' police cruisers that showed up, Troyer. What the hell were they supposed to do? How are these departments supposed to justify this response? Oh, 42 units showed up. We're not going to write a report on it. What? You're kidding. It's really. This is how deep the rabbit hole is. This is how deep systemic racism is. I haven't mentioned the race of the individual yet. Not once. Anyone want to guess? Anyone want to guess in the comments? You want to take a guess? You want to guess? Anyone ready on the scary, murderous, trying to break into my home, tried to kill me? Because the media, the mainstream media is spinning this that he threatened him. That's the mainstream, even my Northwest. Conflicting accounts for Pierce County Sheriff calls police on black delivery driver. They mentioned race right out of the gate. So Troyer explains his side of the story, blah, 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 blah. They talk about the 42 units from multiple cities that came across. Right? Let's read what My Northwest wrote. In 911 audio, Troyer can be heard telling the dispatcher that the car he was following was homeless looking and said on 3 separate occasions that Alzheimer had threatened to kill him. Right? Threatened. Let's play it again. This is Ed Troyer's words in the public record 911 call.
Radio.
Hey, it's Troyer.
What can I do for you?
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End, about 2 blocks from my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here.
He just tried to kill me, not threatened to kill me. He just tried to kill me. That isn't a threat. That isn't a threat to kill. He accused him of attempted murder in the first 14 seconds of that 911 call. And now, what is Ed Troyer doing? This is the part where I was like, oh, snap. I have to do a recording on this. Because what's Ed Troyer doing now? Troyer is questioning the narrative in a written statement to Kiowa Radio, alleging that Alzheimer said, I'm going to take you out, taking that to mean his life was being threatened, and only later chose not to pursue charges. Now, I want you to really understand this. The Pierce County Sheriff is accusing the Tacoma Police Department of falsifying a police report because that police report makes Sheriff Troyer look bad. Take all the time you need to unpack that. Take all the time you want to try and justify that away. I'm like looking at some of your comments here. I'm just reading comments. I've listened to this a dozen times, Kimberly. I'll play it again with the volume turned up more for me.
Radio.
Hey, it's Troyer.
What can I do for you?
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End, about 2 blocks from my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here.
No, he says he just tried to kill me.
Deidre in Tacoma in North End, about 2 blocks from my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they blocked in. About 2 blocks from my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. About 2 blocks from my house, and
About 2 blocks from my house,
caught someone in my driveway
I caught someone in my driveway.
who just threatened to kill me, and they
He just tried to kill me. Threatened is 2 syllables. Try is 1 syllable.
Then, about 2 blocks from my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here right now.
Okay.
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End. About 2 blocks from my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here right now.
I'm not hearing threatened. I hear threatened multiple times afterwards.
For you.
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End. About 2 blocks from my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here right now.
Okay. Radio.
Hey, it's Troyer.
What can I do for you?
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End. About 2 blocks from my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here right now.
Okay. Go again with your address.
What
What can I do for you?
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End. About 2 blocks from my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here right now.
Okay. Go again with your address.
Well, my address is...
Okay.
And he's in some sort of...
Radio.
Hey, it's Troyer.
What can I do for you?
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End. About 2 blocks from my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here right now.
I caught someone in my driveway.
Okay. Go again with your address.
Don't have my buttons in here. What I'm hearing is, yeah, I hear tried. I've turned the volume up now on your side.
Radio.
Hey, it's Troyer.
What can I do for you?
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End. About 2 blocks from my house, and
About 2 blocks from my house,
I caught someone in my driveway who just
I caught someone in my driveway. He just
threatened to kill me, and they blocked him.
tried to kill me. I don't remotely hear threatened, and I don't hear like there's a garbled pause, like, you know, like the cell connection dropped out or something, because there isn't threatened.
What
can I do for you?
I'm at 27th and Deidre in Tacoma in North End. About 2 blocks from my house, and I caught someone in my driveway who just threatened to kill me, and they blocked him in. He's here right now.
Okay. Go again with your address.
Wow, it's interesting. People are hearing it a different way. All right. Some people are hearing tried, some people are hearing threatened, so there you go. Let's go back to the central point. Ed Troyer's view on this is, wait a minute, why was there a police report? You guys told me you weren't going to write one up. And then the second thing is he's putting down here is that the Tacoma Police Department is essentially lying, and that the police report saying that he walked back the threat, that he walked back that accusation in the Tacoma Police Department, right? And he's saying that I never said that. I just said I didn't want the guy arrested. Well, I'll tell you, my East Coast ears don't hear threatened at all, not even close. It's egregious either way. And what's more egregious than what's going on at this point is this, wait a minute, you weren't supposed to write a police report. Wait a minute, your police report is wrong. So the first reaction was, you shouldn't have wrote a report in the first place. The second reaction to this is, you're taking things out of context. It's not me. That's not what I said. I later only chose not to pursue charges. And that's not what the Tacoma Police Department police report is saying on this incident. So the sheriff of Pierce County is accusing the Tacoma Police Department of lying in their police report. It's just stunning to me. It's just stunning to me that people would just buy into this. He's scary. He's trying to break into my house. I've blocked him in. 42 units showed up. It's amazing this guy's alive. It's amazing. Regardless of race, it is amazing that this guy is alive. And that is the bottom line. The bottom line is he lied to dispatchers. He's now upset that a police report came out. And he's now accusing the Tacoma police of falsifying a police report. And this guy runs the sheriff's department in Pierce County. If you are black, indigenous, or person of color, and there is a huge indigenous population in Pierce County in particular, how on earth can you have any faith in the Pierce County Sheriff's Department? I know it's a rhetorical question. I know they don't have faith to begin in the first place. But look what happened earlier. This is like it ties into, this is the other thing that I'm fired up about, right? Because we have down in Cherokee County, Captain Jay Baker, who, he's having a bad day. The shooter in Atlanta, he was having a bad day. It was sex addiction. And he was, yes, the names and ages of the last 4 victims came out today. They're from 51 to 74 years old. The 151-year-old is an outlier. They're all over 60. But this was the sex addiction thing. He was just having a bad day thing. No, Captain Baker, who, by the way, has been pulled off of the case. They pulled him off of the case last night. No, Captain Baker, you're just a racist piece of trash, and we know that from your Facebook posts on your Facebook page that you took down. If the sheriff was drunk at the time, then the police there gave him a pass because Sheriff Troyer admits on this audio that he drove his car 2 blocks. So then it's just, I see the stuff that people are going on here saying, right? So if he's... But Rachel, we don't know if that was the thing, right? Because the other victims were younger, right? They're all across the spectrum in age. I totally get he could totally have a kink thing. We could totally get that. But the ages don't add up across the spectrum of everybody that he killed. That's the problem. That's the thing that I have. So I have a hard time going, this was a kink thing. It's crossed my mind. If all the victims were elderly, or and I say elderly people over in their 60s and beyond, or if all the people were, say, plus 50, then I would go okay. But not all the victims are that. And I get that some of the victims weren't Masonic, but even if I chafe those out, other victims are younger. So this wasn't about kinks. This was about racism. I mean, right out. Look, the Korean press is reporting, and the people that speak Korean as a first language, that he was shouting, "Kill all the Asians," as he was killing people. The U.S. press isn't reporting this, but the Korean press is reporting it. That as he was shooting, I know I'm conflating Tacoma and Atlanta right now, but I see people are seeing things in the comments. But the Korean press is saying that he was saying, "Kill all the Asians." I'm paraphrasing. So that's what the witnesses who survived, who speak Korean as a first language, that's what they have to say about the incident. Cherokee County Sheriff's Department says you're having a bad day. Ed Troyer saying, threatened to kill me, tried to kill me. We can hash that out ad nauseum. I don't hear threatened at all. I hear threatened every point after that. I don't hear threatened in the first initial call at all, not even close. I just hear try. I listened to it here over and over. I listened to it multiple times before I got on here because I just couldn't believe it. It's very, very clear also in this 911 call that Sheriff Troyer already is walking things back. Already walking things back on that 911 call, right? Because within about 3 minutes into the call, he's like, I just want a unit or two, and I just want to go home. So it's just another example of systemic racism. It's also just another example of homeless shaming. Well, it's a homeless looking car. What exactly does a homeless looking car look like? If you're driving a beater with a heater because you elect to drive a beater with a heater, this by default makes you now a suspect and maybe homeless if you're black. Well, this actually goes into the narrative that I've believed in my head. And when my son-in-law and daughter-in-law moved to a town that I'm not going to mention, and my daughter-in-law, who is black, and I had sat down with her and I had the talk because I know the reputation of that particular town. And I talked to my my stepson, I shouldn't say son-in-law, my stepson. And when I talked to my stepson, one of the things I explained to him is that she can never drive a beater with a heater. And if like a headlight goes out or a brake light goes out, you have to fix it that day. Because if you don't, and if she drives on certain roads, it's not going to go well. Yeah, I had to have that talk with my daughter-in-law and my stepson. And they got rid of her beater with a heater. You know what's interesting, because they did the license plate, there was no comment in any of that. The I gave you the license plate was redacted out of that call, because he does say in the 911 call I gave the license plate. There was nothing in there that said that there was, a bad tag or any acknowledgement of that from 911 dispatch. I would think because they were talking to the sheriff that if something had come up, they would say that. We know that there are items in the car because the guy delivers newspaper for a living. And generally, if you're delivering newspapers, you're probably going to drive a beater with a heater because delivering newspapers is really tough on a car. You're not going to be driving a 2020 whatever to be delivering newspapers. There you go. Rachel just nailed it. Poverty's a crime. And that's very, very clear in this call. Again, the part that I'm most disgusted about, the part that I'm totally fired up over on this, is that Sheriff Troyer's reaction when this news broke today was, wait a minute, you weren't supposed to write up a police report. That's in the Seattle Times. I'm paraphrasing. But you weren't supposed to write up a police report. I thought we were just going to do this off the books. 42 friggin' police cruisers showed up, dude. He's questioning the veracity of 42 police cruisers showing up also, by the way, in the reports. And now he's questioning the integrity, and I know I say this ironically. But he's questioning the integrity of the police report coming out of Tacoma. Geez, Sheriff Troyer, why would you be doubting the veracity of a police report over an incident that you are now saying is being misrepresented? What would ever give you the idea that the police might potentially lie in a police report? Where did that idea come from? To the point that you're saying it aloud. Well, I'm not saying that they lied. I'm saying they misrepresented. Remember, Ed Troyer was PIO for Pierce County Sheriff for years, and he did it in a very appealing way. He did. He's a charismatic guy. Very charismatic guy. So I'm not surprised that he's become sheriff. But here is a guy who was PIO for Pierce County Sheriff for years. And now he's like, well, the police are mischaracterizing things because, you know, this narrative. And I was just like, I decided not to press charge on that. Press charges exactly for what? Exactly. Because one thing we also know is that Mr. Alzheimer, 24, black, filmed and photographed everything that was going on. We know that because of the 911 call. So why are we now playing this theater when any logical, rational human being at this point would go, essentially, the police attacking the police over the veracity of a police report over an incident when you call 911 and the audio recording clearly hears for the whole world to hear plays for the whole world to hear what you said. We're all hearing it. Thank you, Kimberly. That was another point I was going to make also. What's the make and model of the car? I don't know. It's some charcoal piece of... Really? Now, let's think about this. He gave the plate to the vehicle, but without giving the make and model of the vehicle, 911 can only validate that the plate is attached to a car that is black or gray, because he said it's charcoal colored. So we can only 911 dispatch in, let me check this, or advising officers can only figure out that this is attached to a black or gray or potentially silver vehicle. At night, a silver vehicle, if it's dirty and homeless looking, could look charcoal gray. But yeah, I don't know the make or model. I can't identify a Toyota from a Honda, from a Ford, from a Chevy, from a Hyundai. Really? But of course, by not sharing that information, the police and 911 dispatchers showing up have no idea if that plate is on a stolen car or not. So yeah, let's just dial up things. Look, if you're a taxpayer in Pierce County, you can have that back the blue flag hanging behind you right now and going, you're an asshole, malcontent. 42 units showed up. Think about all the resources and tax, because I know you don't like paying taxes. If you got like the back the blue thing hanging behind you, right, wearing that MAGA hat, you don't like paying taxes. You hate paying taxes. Think about all the tax dollars that went to this bullshit phone call on the paperboy. I mean, this is the 2021 version of the paperboy. The person that goes around hucking newspaper, was pulling in the driveway. Well, of course he was pulling in the driveways. If they're longer driveways, that's how they're going to have to friggin' huck the paper up to the... This guy could have been killed. It's amazing they didn't get killed. It is amazing he didn't get killed. Oh, absolutely. And he was playing the game, Kevin. Absolutely. But the thing is, if you and I played the game that way, we'd be in trouble. If you and I played the game that way, like crazy dude that I put on the live, I don't know, was that like 3 months ago now? It's a while ago, right? It's like 3 months ago, right? If I had picked up the phone 911 and said, this guy just tried to kill me, and he's screaming in my face. Is he armed? He's got a club. I could have exaggerated that club. He's definitely armed. He's got a weapon. He struck me with it. Help me, help me, help me, help me. Oh, if I had done that, how quick the reaction would have been from the city of Kirkland. But then, of course, I would be in trouble. which then in itself just goes back to there are multiple standards of justice in this country. Trevor Noah said this recently, and not a big fan of The Daily Show. I think The Daily Show kind of has dumbed down America in a lot of ways, even if it gets people to consume. That's not a slight against Trevor Noah. It's against the format of The Daily Show in general. I like Trevor Noah's format better than Jon Stewart's, but I'm not a huge fan of the show. But Trevor Noah, said there are, multiple and I 100% agree with him. There's one for rich, and there's one for poor, and there's one for whites, and there's ones for minorities. And I completely agree with that. I've always described it as three types. I've described it a little differently. I think he put it more simplistic than I did, and simplistic in a way that resonates. Thank you, Kevin. That was exactly my thought. This is the same woman in New York City who called on the bird watcher. He's assaulting me. Where this individual also could have ended up dead. Ed Troyer never mentioned race. There was no question about race. So, it's one thing if he described him as a black man or anything. Interesting, the 911 dispatcher never asked for a physical description of the individual. It's just, he's there and we're sending help on the way, which is in part probably why they never asked for a physical description. He's saying he has the person. He's blocking the person. But yeah, this is exactly what this is. I saw some of the comments about, there's people that are saying that he's drunk or stuff. Look, if we're never going to know at this point, right? It's like the South Dakota thing, like that. This is like, the district attorney in South Dakota, where it all turns out that the sheriff that showed up at the call is also the coroner. It also would have been the guy that would have done a field sobriety test, and just the whole thing there stinks. Let's close on this. How can the minority communities in this nation have any faith that when the police is called on them, or they call the police for assistance, that they can trust the police? If you're a Pierce County taxpayer, you should be outraged at the waste of resources over nothing. If you truly back the blue, if this is your reason to be, then sit down and try to justify in your head that Ed Troyer is saying that the Tacoma Police Department is misrepresenting the situation. Troyer questioned that narrative in a written statement to Colorado, alleging that Alzheimer said, "I'm going to take you out," taking that to mean my life was being threatened, and only later choosing not to pursue charges. What I told officers at the scenes, including my own, was, no, I don't want to pursue a threats report. Then why did he make the call? Ed, why did you make the call? Why? If it was no big deal after police showed up, let's just let this go. We're just going to let it go. Is no big deal? Then why did you call in the first place? And we know what the answer to that is. Pierce County Council Chair Derek Young also released a statement Friday morning saying the council is concerned what about occurred and is eager to learn more about the circumstances of that night. As we have more information, we'll have a better sense of appropriate next steps available to us. Yeah, we all know how that's going to go because we've seen how this is played out in King County in Seattle. Even if this turns into holy ass crackers, they'll release some strongly worded statement. We condemn these actions. We're an inclusive county and community, and we are vibrant and thriving only if we all work together. We are very disappointed in the actions of, and we strongly, and nothing's going to happen. And that's what's going to happen. Love it, Jerry. I'm reading your thing there. I absolutely love that comment. This is just, it's gross. This is gross. It speaks of classism because apparently, I know I'm just going in circles, but it speaks of classism because apparently poverty is a crime in Pierce County. He looks homeless. That makes him extra scary. Not homeless. Has a job. Was doing his job. You know, what do you say to that? Back the blues. What do you say to that? They just need to get a job. Well, he has a job. He's not homeless. Just out doing his job when to pay his bills. That's why he was stopping at each house. He didn't have garage door device. The police are saying in Tacoma he never threatened him. That Ed Troyer told him, well, he didn't threaten him. He walked it back. And now, like, the cat's out of the bag because Ed Troyer's upset that a police report was written in the first place. That was the first place he went with the Seattle Times this morning. Well, I'm surprised there's a police report. They told me. Do better. We need to demand better of our elected officials, and nothing's going to change. Not in this situation, because Pierce County is less woke than King County, and King County is just racist. You know, everybody thinks, you know, Western Washington, oh, it's just this liberal hellhole. This is where all those crazy liberals live. We laugh at you when you say that. It's like you don't have a freaking clue. This area is so low-key racist and so white. It's ridiculous. And this is the pasty white Jew from the Burbs saying this. It is so low-key racist here. It's all just under the surface. You know what's different here than other areas? The people that experience the low-key racism and have been experienced it since the state was a territory, since Oregon was a territory. Reminder, Oregon was a whites-only or half-breed Indian. I am purposely saying half-breed Indian because that was the wording that was used, because I know it's cringe-inducing. And Oregon was a territory just for that. They actually drove black people out of Oregon territory, if you study the history. In Tacoma, to go over Tacoma's racist history, they rounded up the Chinese people. They put them on ships and trains, robbed them of their livelihoods, of their businesses, of their possessions, and killed dozens of people. There's a memorial for it down in Ruston. Seattle tried to do the same thing after it happened in Tacoma. You know, we don't talk about the criminalization of poverty. Do you know where the term Skid Row was invented? Yeah, Seattle. That's right. The term Skid Row is invented in Seattle. See, back in the day when there was still timber around in the metro Seattle area and they were cutting down the trees would be pushed down into what was Elliott Bay. And there were very steep hills in Seattle. And to help speed up the movement of these logs down the road as they were getting down, they greased the road. And that road ran through minority neighborhoods with mostly Asians in it at that time. And so this was called Skid Row. Yeah, there's a little Seattle history for you. I had no idea how, racist it was. I really had no idea how racist it was until a few years ago. I mean, I said this before. I grew up in a town in Massachusetts that when a black family moved there, it was literally in the newspaper of the town, or I should say one town over. I grew up actually technically in this little teeny tiny town, but one town over had their own little newspaper. There were about 4,000 people that lived in that town at that time. And it was literally a newspaper story, not a newspaper story in the sense of like, oh my God, there goes the neighbor, a newspaper story and like, look how progressive we are. There's a black family that moved in. And this happened at a time where I would have been old enough to read a newspaper and care. So this is pretty late into my development when this happened. That's how white. It's like, how white did you grow up? That's how white it was where I grew up. I really didn't see a lot of people of color outside of Latinx populations, and mostly where I grew up, there was not even there's Puerto Rican where I grew up. A lot of Puerto Ricans, and they're U.S. citizens. So, most of my exposure to people that weren't white growing up were basically Puerto Ricans. That's it. Then I moved to Texas, and that's where I first oh wow, there are black people in the world. I really grew up in a white area. And I think, in a way, growing up in an area where there wasn't any minorities, and that my interaction, I actually interacted with a lot of Puerto Rican people because there's a bunch of them on the search and rescue work that I did, a ton of them, was all positive. So when I moved to Texas, I moved with a clean slate, right? There was no bias inherent in me. So I was just like, hey, everybody's cool. And I think I'm fortunate for that because there's no other logical reason for it. Because my father, God love him for everything that he did, and he made me the person I am. My father was racist as fuck. Holy crap. My father was flippin' racist. My mother is accidentally racist. And at 90 years old, we've all kind of given up. She definitely wants to do better. And she definitely has evolved over the decades that I have lived. But she's like Pacific Northwest, low-key racist. That's probably the best way to describe it. But she's definitely working on it and trying it. But again, she's 90 years old. It's like, it's as good as it's going to get. And then I moved to South Dakota, which I always say I was there a year and a half too long. Hint, I lived here a year and a half. And that was really white. And I came here to the Pacific Northwest. And I think it just, the biggest culture shock for me when I moved to the Pacific Northwest 21 years ago was how open LGBTQIA community was. That was a bit of a whoa. It didn't faze me, clearly. But that was kind of a shock to the system. I remember I came here and went to work for a tech company, and I mean, there's like people with pink hair, there's guys holding hands in the office, and it's just like, whoa. It's like, I know all this exists and stuff, and I did a lot of listening, and I learned a lot, and I'm glad I did. But it wasn't until like a few years ago that I really started to realize how racist even the woke areas of the Pacific Northwest are. Shelley, I went to a small high school, and I'm very blessed. I got to go to a private school. I went to a Catholic school. I didn't at the time. I see, you went to private school. At the time when I was growing up, lots of people in New England went to private Catholic schools, and they were very, very affordable. There isn't a whole lot of, oh my. I didn't go to like some elite academy or anything like that. There were, and a lot of those Catholics, the attendance has gone way down. My school actually doesn't exist anymore. They closed last year. Which is a shame. I actually feel extremely blessed to get the education that I got there. I feel like I got a superior education to my peers. And the other thing is that there were some things that they had me take, that I was forced to take, that at the time I was like, why am I taking this class? That I'm really grateful that I took. I had to take religion for 4 years. That was required. Right? You're never going to do that in public school. First year was Old Testament. Second year was New Testament. Third year was world religions. Fourth year was like politics, ethics, and religions, and essentially like debate class on debating different topics and where religion aligns within those topics. And there was never, through those 4 years of religion class, of any approach of, we are Catholics and this makes us superior because. Now, I will say that I did get a ruler across my head from Father Champion when they were doing Old Testament. I'm not Old Testament, New Testament. We're doing, no, Old Testament. Father Champion would have been Old Testament. We were doing Old Testament and kind of Catholic dogma. And he is explaining the Holy Trinity. And my hand, because remember, I'm a Jew that kind of goes to an Episcopal church at this time. And I've always been a rabble rouser, apparently. And he's explaining the Holy Trinity. And my hand just keeps going up, going like, I'm not getting this, right? And I'm getting into a religious debate with a Catholic priest. And then I'm like, you're telling me it's monotheistic, but you're telling me there's three, but you're telling me that they're one. And this really just doesn't, this isn't adding up to me. And where it's fallen apart for me is the Holy Spirit. And then finally, he just got right in my face. He put both hands on the side of my desk, got in my face, and just like screamed at me, "You just have to believe." And I said something snarky to him. And I got a ruler across the head for it, because in those days you could do stuff like that. But I remember this. I remember this experience so vividly. I can't remember the one who did the New Testament. He was a nice guy. Anyway, I've totally digressed on this. We're just getting into the whole low-key racism thing in the Pacific Northwest. It's really bad, and it's just getting exposed over and over again. But once again, we're in this situation of, let's go to Atlanta. We have a sheriff, not a when I say or a sheriff officer, he's a captain. He's not the sheriff of Cherokee County, but we have a captain, somebody who clearly you're a captain, you're in a position of authority, you've been in the police department for a long time. And bias out for the whole world to see. And as we learn more and more, and we learn what the Korean press is saying and all that situation, we just learned the guy's a racist chud. Here we have Ed Troyer calling up going, I've been threatened. He's trying to break into houses. And then, again, when you go back to the 911 call, I hear try. I play it over and over again. I just hear try. There is no way my brain can turn that into threatened. I don't hear 3 syllables or even a broken second syllable or enough time for 3 syllables to go there. I guess what I could do, we have transcription software. I could record it and run it through transcription software and see what transcription software says. And then maybe I'll eat my hat if the transcription software comes back and says threatened. And, it may come back going like, I don't know what he says. And it wasn't any of this. And Ed Troyer is his defense. His defense is Tacoma police are misrepresenting. I won't use the L word. They're getting it wrong. I didn't say that. How many times have we heard suspects question the veracity of a police report and go, I didn't say that. I didn't do that. The police are lying. And juries just blindly go, well, the police couldn't possibly lie. So what do you do in a situation where the duly elected sheriff of a county is being accused of lying by the police officials of the city that he lives in, and the sheriff is saying the police officials of the city you live in is lying? I say that you now have an ethical problem in being able to have trust and faith in either of those entities. I get it. They're human beings. They're not infallible. They're going to make mistakes. But we are trained in this country to treat the police as if they are infallible. If you are a police officer, you are held to a higher standard. If you are a leader of people, of persons in a police department, you are held to an even higher standard. If you are the leader of your police department, you are held to an even higher standard. That's how the world should work for people in that capacity. If Sheriff Troyer lied in this 911 call, which could have got somebody killed, it really is amazing this guy is alive. It is stunning to me, with 42 units that showed up. And by the guy's own report, the man identified as 24-year-old Cedric Altheimer described to the Times that he felt he was being targeted as a black man in a white neighborhood when police arrived on the scene. You think? I'm yelling, what are you guys here for? What am I doing wrong? You guys are trying to arrest a paper carrier, he said. Like, so his reaction appears, at least, out of the gate, is yelling at the police, which, when you're black and you have the sheriff of a large county, a man who was former PIO and is well known, right? He could just call up 911 and go, Troyer, hey, what's up? Scary black man. Help. Help's on the way. 42 units, like the Blues Brothers. I'm sorry, he wasn't scary. I made it up. Okay, I didn't make it up at the time. You guys are making it up that I didn't say that he wasn't scary and that I just didn't want to press charges, but actually he was scary. Really? And the only person telling the truth in all of this, like the only person that I'm believing 100% is Cedric Altheimer. I'm a black man in a white neighborhood, and that's why I got targeted. No greater truth in this matter has been said than that statement. Oh, that's the other thing, Dan. Dan nails it too. This is why I use this Blues Brothers analogy, right? It's just maybe because there were 42 units, that's why. Maybe that's what kept him alive, because there were just so many units there and so much potential for things to go wrong. It really is amazing he wasn't killed. All right, that's it. End of stream. I'm going away now. I've talked enough. I think this is disgusting. This deserved its own stream. We're going to continue to monitor this story. I do think I'm going to run this 911 call through transcription software just for giggle. And I get transcription software is like 98% at best. I've listened. Look, you had me play it back over and over and over and over and over again. I turned up the volume. Some of you, it seems anybody from the Pacific Northwest is saying threatened. In the comments, anybody not from the Pacific Northwest is hearing try. So maybe it is an accent thing. And if it is, I'll walk it back. I'll say I was wrong. But I think I think I will run this through trans. It's only like, it's a 4-minute call. Actually, I can just take the 1 minute. I can take a 1-minute snip, and that's $1.25 to get it transcribed. And I can actually, in the transcription service, go, this is, white male, Pacific Northwest, United States accent, and see what the transcription service has to say. Well, Kevin, that's basically what I'm running through is an SRT service. So that's we use at the agency, we use an SRT service. So that's essentially what it's doing is building closed captions. So that's essentially what I'm doing. And what happens is in the service that we use, a really good service, they use essentially a closed captioning solution. Then an individual goes through and listens, and because as we all know, captioning solutions are even less perfect than transcription services. They go ahead and do a listen through. They clean up the obvious mistakes. Then they leave the other stuff, and we get files of both. So we get the SRT and then we get the transcript. And they charge $1.25 a minute. It's real. They do charge $1.25 a minute and turnarounds less than 12 hours. Love this company. Because I don't know how they do it for $1.25 a minute, and they're because they're using natural speakers. So that tells me that there's some people that are United States or I'm trying to think internationally. Internationally, you could potentially have Singapore, a couple other countries, Canada maybe, that are listening to this and doing the editing of these things. $1.25 a minute. It doesn't add up to me. It's gross work. Kimberly has her spouse listening to it now. I can only imagine Dory. I'm sure that Dory just got on his knees and had his little fetish time with them. I just tied the fetish conversation back. Dory's gross. There, I said it. He's so freaking gross. All right, I get back to real work. Thank you for watching. Gonna run it through it. It's a front for the NSA. Oh, I don't think so. I don't think that company's a front for the NSA at all. That's an insult to asshats, Kimberly. And with that, I'm going to go. And Malcontent out. Malcontent News is a team of journalists, activists, and researchers with 3 key missions. A commitment to show an unfiltered view of the before, during, and after of key events live as it happens. To defend the First Amendment using our rights of a free press. And to amplify the voices of underrepresented individuals, including Black, Indigenous, persons of color, and the LGBTQIA+ community. Our team is committed to seeking equality for all and holding those in power accountable. The easiest way to support Malcontent News is to bookmark our website at malcontentnews.com, like and follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and in the Google News app. To provide financial support, you can become a patron, make a one-time donation through Venmo, or link your Twitch account to your Amazon Prime account and use your free subscription to subscribe to Malcontent News. Thank you for supporting independent journalism and for being a malcontent.
You fit the profile. You're the malcontent.
Nobody wants to hear the nonsensical ravings of a loudmouth malcontent.
He said malcontents Antifa. Fuck you.
You are the biggest hypocrite on the face of the planet.
I say that you're